A lot of people send me questions asking me how long is it going to take once I start practicing Kriya Yoga to experience a oneness state or to experience what they might consider to be authentic spiritual growth. My response is always that it depends on the person. For example, in the Yoga Sutras, there is a line or a sutra that specifically says that the progress made is in accordance with the level of intensity of practice. It's mild, you put mild intensity towards it, you get mild results. You put moderate intensity, you get moderate results. You put lots of intensity towards it, you get results quicker. So it's just like anything. The more intention, the more you engage the process, that indicates what's going to happen. And what does it mean to have a mild practice or a moderate practice or an intense practice? Well, a mild practice might mean that you wake up every day and you meditate for 20 minutes. That's it. You don't really think about it anymore. You go about your day. Maybe before you go to sleep, you read some inspiring spiritual literature for 10 minutes. That's 30 minutes a day of practice. Now, it's better than a lot of people because some people could care less. But that's mild. A moderate practice, that can mean that you meditate a little bit longer, that you take periods of the day where you reflect on what you are, you reflect on your role within this life, and how you can be a surrendered representative of the divine consciousness, however you conceive of God or the divine to be. Intensive spiritual practice is when you try to allow all of your thoughts, everything that you experience, your work, to be an expression of the divine in life. So you meditate once or twice a day. That helps you to stay centered and grounded in this infinite consciousness. Then the rest of the day, when you're working, no matter what kind of work you're doing, you're still feeling as though you are this one infinite consciousness working in this way, playing this role. If you keep that up as you go to sleep at night, you wonder in your mind, what is God? What am I? What is my relationship to this infinite consciousness? So it's always keeping yourself engaged in the process. That's intensity. And so as the months and the years go by, the realizations come quicker. And we have to remember that with any kind of meditation practice, as I've mentioned before, it's just about getting you calm and clear so that you can be able to learn and know and have this kind of dialogue with the rest of the universe to find out what you are. Because that's where peace comes from. It doesn't come from reading a book where someone says, you're not your mind, you're not your body, so when the body dies, what really dies? That's not going to liberate you. That's not going to allow you to let go of your anxiety. It's having that direct experience of knowing that maybe once in meditation, you're aware of your body as a container for your consciousness. And you know that you are that point in space which is eternal, which exists in your dreams. It existed when you were 3 years old. It exists clear through every moment of your life, whether you're aware of it or not. When you have that kind of direct experience, then these words make sense. They're an experiential process, so you don't even need to hear them. Just like you know the color of your hair, just like you know your gender, just like you know that the sky is blue. No one has to tell you. You know it, and you're at peace with it. So spiritual practice goes in that direction. Now back to the point of time. How much time does it take? Well, it doesn't matter how much time it takes. If you want to know what you are, if you want to experience self-realization, time is not important. Because we're all different. We all have different layers of conditioning. Some of us might be attached to different things. Some of us might be more emotional. Some of us might be more sentimental. And it doesn't matter because your experiences, you've had them for a reason, based on your past thoughts, habits, actions, and tendencies. Experience keeps going. There's no end to experience. And the more you meditate, the more you start to realize this. And in time, you start to realize that all these things that you think are so important, they're just something that's happening within consciousness. That if you died tomorrow and you were reborn again, you would go through similar life experiences based on your past choices and habits. And all of that keeps going. The question is, are you aware that you are not these things? Are you aware that consciousness is infinite, that you can play the role or you can withdraw and experience pure being? And that can take years, it can take decades, or it can take months. It just depends on where you are. So you don't want to be thinking in regards of time. You want to be thinking in regards of why are you doing this. If your goal is to know what you are, to wake up to that, to be that fully, consciously, you're always it. So to say that you have to be it or become it, that's not true. It's more a process of realizing it and remembering it and keeping it within your conscious awareness. And once you've got it, then it sticks. But that can take however long it takes, and impatience doesn't help. So again, with this whole process, practicing meditation, living so that you are curious about life and what you are, contemplating the nature of consciousness. And we all have different kinds of intelligence, so we might get different realizations, but in time it will lead to that one that one bit of wisdom that expresses as enlightened realization. But that takes time, and you just have to keep going. You have to keep practicing. If you need to ask someone how to improve your meditation, find an expert, ask them. If you have psychological issues that you need dealt with, see a counselor. If you have financial issues, you can't pay your bills, which gets in the way of your meditation, maybe take a class in business. Essentially, the whole point is that with Kriya practice, you engage all the available resources to you that allow you to set up a life so that you have time to meditate and contemplate. So whatever that takes, and you have to be realistic about it too, but whatever it takes, the quicker you do that, the more time you will have to devote to it. And this is true no matter what you're interested in. Whatever you want to be an expert in, it's going to take time. It's going to take learning. It's going to take trial and error. And you're going to make mistakes. But if you keep moving, you keep remaining curious, then you understand. Then you realize things much quicker. And then you can experience that peace of the self, and you can know what you are. And how do you know when you're making progress? You know when you're making progress when you have an abiding peace that your life is an expression of the divine. You accept yourself for who you are as an expression of the divine. You know you're making progress when you can sit in meditation and you don't feel like you have to strive for anything, yet you are alert and awake and aware. And thoughts can come and thoughts can go. Stillness can permeate, but you remain. You know you're making progress when you read literature, spiritual literature, and you can recognize, this makes sense, I understand this now, or this person's just talking garbage, because there's plenty of people out there talking garbage. And as our wisdom develops, as our consciousness gets clear, it's easier to recognize it. And it's not meant to be judgmental. It's just about being discerning, being able to see what is true and what is false. And all of this comes through the process of Kriya Yoga, through the process of meditation, of ripening your consciousness to allow it to occur. Because this whole process is simply about maturing, really. Just like you go from a baby to a toddler, to an adolescent, to an adult. Well, consciousness, through these individualized aspects, moves from a childlike state and slowly matures until it understands what it is. It seems phenomenal when you're a child, just like when you're a little kid and you look at your uncle who's sitting over there in the corner, smoking his pipe and stroking his beard, looking all wise. And eventually, one day, you're doing the same thing and you realize, well, there's nothing special about this. It's just what happens. So keep that in mind. And that previous reference was actually from an Alan Watts quote, if you recognized it. So that's not my experience. That's from Alan Watts. So how long does it take? It doesn't matter how long it's going to take. What do you need to do? Meditate every day. Do what you need to get your life in order. Do what you need to be able to sit in the stillness and contemplate, what are you? What is this world? What is the nature of desire? What is reality? And contemplate it and ask until you get a direct aha moment. It comes not in words. It comes not in a paragraph. It's a knowing. So anytime you've wondered about something, then you got an aha moment. That's how it comes. And then it stays. And then you keep exploring until there are no more questions to ask. So, do your part. Clarify your consciousness. Get in order what you need to get in order. And let that be your Kriya Yoga practice. And let the techniques, the pranayama that you learn, let that be that part of you, the training part of you, which allows you to decondition your consciousness so that you exist freely in this stillness.